All right, hey, good morning. It's Noel, and welcome to another day. It's I don't know, seems pretty nice out for us for mid-November. So um, pretty happy about that, and yeah, still like I've said a bunch of times, got plenty of stuff to finish up outside before winter comes. You know, trimming back plants and all that kind of stuff, and cleaning up. So leaves, I don't know, bazillion if there is a number, of leaves. So anyway, um, reading Luke 12 today, um, and it's 90 something percent, 95% looks like, just red letters. So, yeah, anyway, I'm jump into this, and here we go. So, meanwhile, when a crowd of many thousands had gathered, so that they were trampling on one another, Jesus began to speak to his disciples, saying, "Be on your guard against the yeast of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. What you have said in the dark will be heard in the daylight, and what you have whispered in the ear of the inner rooms will be proclaimed from the roofs." I tell you, my friend, do not be afraid of those who kill the body, and after that can do no more. But I will show you whom you should fear. Fear him who, after killing the body, has the power to throw you into hell. Yes, I tell you, for fear him. Are not five sparrows sold for 2 pennies? Yet not one of them is forgotten by God. Indeed, the very hairs on your head are all numbered. Don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. I tell you, whoever acknowledges me before men, the Son of Man will also acknowledge him before the angels of God. But he who disowns me before men will be disowned before the angels of God. And everyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven, but anyone who blasphemes against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven. When you are brought before synagogues, rulers, and authorities, do not worry about about how you will defend yourselves or what you will say, for the Holy Spirit will teach you at that time what you should say. Someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." Jesus replied, "Man who, uh, man who appointed me a judge or arbiter between you?" Then he said to them, "Watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. A man's life does not consist uh, in abundance of his possessions." Whew, I am struggling. Uh, yeah. And he told them this parable: the ground of a certain rich man produced a good crop. He thought to himself, "What shall I do? I have no place to store my crops. Then he said, This is what I will do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there will be, uh, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I'll say to myself, You have plenty of things laid up for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, You fool, the very night, this very night, your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with anyone who stores up things for himself, but is not rich toward God. You never hear of like, you know, one of these verses being somebody's like, life verse. It's always the, fluffy ones, I guess, or I don't know, if fluffy is the right way, but it's never the, you know, fear God, kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Then Jesus said to his disciples, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. Life is more than food, and the body is more than clothes. Consider the ravens; they do not sow or reap; they have no storeroom or barn, yet God feeds them. How much more valuable are you than the birds? Who of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to his life? Since you cannot do this very little thing, why do you worry about the rest? Consider how the lilies grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet, I tell you, not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today, and tomorrow it is thrown into the fire, how much more will he clothe you, O you of little faith? And do not set your heart on what you will eat or drink. Do not worry about it, for the pagan world runs after all such things, and your Father knows that you need them. But seek his kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions, give to the poor, provide purses for yourselves that will not wear out, a treasure in heaven that will not be exhausted, where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will also be. Be dressed ready for service, and keep your lamps burning, like men waiting for their master to return from a banquet, so that when he comes and knocks, they can immediately open the door for him. It will be good for those servants uh, whose master finds them watching when he comes. I tell you the truth, he will be dressed. He will dress himself to serve. Will have them recline at the table and will come and wait on them. It will be good for those servants whose master finds them ready, even if he comes in the second or third watch of the night. But understand this: if the owner of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have let his house be broken into. You must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect it. Peter asked, Lord, are you telling this parable to us or to everyone? The Lord answered, who then is the faithful and wise manager, whom the master puts in charge of his servants to give them their food allowance and the proper time, or at the proper time? It will be good for that servant whom the master finds doing so when he returns. I tell you the truth, he will be put uh, in charge of all his possessions. But suppose the servant says to himself, my master is taking a long time in coming, and he then begins to beat uh, the, the men servants and maid servants, and to eat and drink and get drunk. The master of of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and in an hour he does not, or he is not aware of. He will cut he will cut him into pieces as and assign him a place with the unbelievers. That servant who knows his master's will and does not get ready or does not do what his master wants will be beaten with many blows. But the one who does not know and does things deserving punishment will be beaten with a few blows. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded, and from one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. I have come. This is this next part is where it's not the exact where, but it's one of the where what reasons where's I don't know. One of the reasons our modern church here, at least in the United States, um, is is messed up, and almost makes you wonder if messed up isn't the right word, if if strayed is a better word. Anyway, this is Jesus. I have come to bring fire on the earth, and how I wish it were already kindled. But I have a baptism to undergo, and how distressed I am until it is completed. Do you think I came to bring peace on earth? No, I tell you, but division. From now on, there will be five in one family divided against each other, three against two, two against three, and they will be divided, father against son, son against father, mother against daughter, daughter against mother, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. He said to the crowds, when you have seen a cloud rising in the west, immediately say, it is going to rain, and it does. And when the south wind blows, you say, it's going to be hot, and it is. Hypocrites, you know how to interpret the appearance of the earth and the sky. How is it that you do not know how to interpret this present time? Why do you judge yourselves? Why do you judge for yourselves what is right? As you were going with your adversary to the magistrate, try hard to be reconciled to him on the way, or he may drag you off to the judge, and the judge turn you over to the officer, and the officer throw you into prison. I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny. Yeah, that was 12. Whew. Yeah. Uh, I mean, I mean, just an enormous amount of uh, I think I think Jesus speaking to us, God speaking to, through him and Luke in here, that stuff that applies just as much today as it did when Jesus is saying this stuff back 2,000 years ago at this point. Um, you know, um, I'm sorry, but our entire American church, all of us, me included, you know, probably need more lessons in the parable of the rich fool here. Storing up things, building bigger barns to store up all of his grain, and trusting in that, for the rest of his life and that kind of thing. It's not even that the barns were wrong or that having the right amount of grain was wrong or any of that. It's the putting your hope and faith into, oh, I'm taken care of now, and I don't need God. That's the issue, I think. Um, you know, and it's the same thing with the not worrying, and Jesus is in here talking about don't worry about your life. And we all know it's true. Like, you can worry all day long, but that's not doing anything. But it doesn't stop us from doing it. Like, it's still just like in there. Uh, and here's where, I mean, there's so much of this that it's really unbelievable how much I know there's some pastors and teachers out there that do well, do are very wise and teach this stuff very well. I haven't personally come you know in contact with many of those kind of folks, but you know um, the other part in here where Jesus is talking about being watchful, um, and he's talking about himself, um, you know in some of it, as far as like, um, where like the thief coming, and taking the possessions from the guy's house and that kind of stuff, and then the servant being prepared and the other servant not being prepared. But this is the majority of people that I've heard teach and talk about this kind of stuff are talking about Jesus' return. You know, um, at some point. I don't think this is always talking about that. And I say that uh, because I mean, like one reason, like in Luke 12, 39, 38 or 39, I can't see that small. But it's a, he says, but understand this: if the owner of the house had been or had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have let his house be broken into. This is Jesus talking. You must also be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect it. So there's, I mean, like, yeah, the other parts talk about nobody knows when Jesus is coming back, the hour, and all that kind of stuff. Totally understand, get that, but also no one knows the hour that Jesus is uh, coming for you. You know what I mean? Like, I think if we applied this to our lives, as far as like, no one knows when the Son of Man is you know coming for you. Not just when Jesus is coming back. We don't know that either. So we need to be you know like it talks about in here, being prepared for that when we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Like the servant taking care of the master's place, doing that in preparation, for Jesus' return. But also, we need to be doing that in preparation for Jesus's coming for us. Like, we don't know, we don't know that day and that hour, uh, and we, foolishly, most of the time, just sit back and keep living, thinking, you know, tomorrow's gonna be just like today, and like this is just gonna keep going, and it doesn't. There's a day that each of our numbers is pulled, however you want to look at it, and you know if that was realistic in our minds, this place would be a totally different experience as far as earth, Christianity, faith, all of that. And that's why I think you see like uh, Christians in you know uh, Eastern countries, or some of these Middle Eastern countries and all that stuff, that African countries at this point, that are sorry, um, that are under persecution, and every day, their life is at risk. And it's crazy because like these nut jobs, um, in the Middle East and different places will make videos of killing people, hurting people, whatever. And yeah, you can look at the evilness in those, in the their what those folks are doing to somebody else. what we totally miss a lot of the time, if you ever have to watch one of those sick videos, is you know often there's Christian folks that are standing there that refuse to deny Jesus, refuse to accept another religion because the sword is at their throat. They 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 are prepared. They're watchful. They're prepared. Like they're taking care of the master's place until he returns for them. And that's like that's this. Uh, anyway, it's just man, I feel like we missed so much of this entire thing. You know, we're too busy like, and I'm guilty of all of it. So don't. I'm not pointing the finger at anybody. But it's always just like not always, but often it's the whole like being a Christian thing is singing these warm fuzzy songs, praying for your whatever crap it is that we want today. Bless our 3,000 calorie meal. If you could please make a way for me to buy that $80,000 truck, and get whatever house and this and that kind of just crap all the time. And it's not like like I said, it's not even that something is directly wrong with any of those things. It's our hearts, and then so much is lacking all the time. And it's the same thing, like it doesn't have to be stuff. Like you sit down with folks and they know like all kinds of crap about some stupid sports team. And that's great. I'm glad you have a hobby. Um, like I don't know. It's just like what a waste. I mean, to the extent of if you know more about that than than this. Like, I mean, I don't know if Americans, if we would just realize, just like as Christians, like we've created our society has created adult sports to be like a church, a uh, a worship type thing. You know what I mean? Like, like I mean, what happens in a cult? You give up all your stuff. Give your money to the cult leader. Join in. You know, most of the time it seems like the cult leaders, living big, large, and everybody else is just like, following along. And I mean, the insanity that we, don't even see the, all of the average people are contributing to, you know, the salary of these folks playing sports for tens of millions of dollars. And then not only did you give all your money to them that you didn't have, then you spend all your time like learning about them and this and that. Like, what part of that is different than? cult or idol worship or what part of that? What part of that's different? We just we can't see it. We can't see it at all, uh, and our churches sit back and they're like, Jesus is friendly and peaceful, and he would never say anything to hurt anybody's feelings, and blah blah blah. Like it couldn't be more wrong, you know. And then we have pastors that want to sit up there and talk about the sports stuff. It's like I struggle with it. Obviously, it's just no wonder that the country's in the state it's in, society's in the state it's in. Like how many of us are prepared by this? How many of us are you know even being pushed to be watchful and all this stuff? Like it's not happening. It's not happening at all. It's yeah. Anyway, sorry, kind of went off there. I do that, but yeah, it's frustrating, and I know people's lives are at stake, people's eternities are at stake, people, you know, and we're just like, gosh, I hope so and so goes to the Super Bowl or what the freak ever. Like, it's insanity. It's just complete insanity. Anyway, I obviously don't get into all that stuff. Never have. It just isn't my thing. Um, I cannot stand the idea that people that actually work, contribute to society, um, you know, even basic things, teachers, nurses, you know, that kind of stuff. Um, you know, to some extent, maybe law enforcement, although I, could go down a different rabbit hole with that also. Um, but just, like the actual people that are contributing to society, and to our world are left to work for, you know, 30 to 50 years, pay, you know, their bills, and stay on this hamster wheel that never goes anywhere, you know um, and somehow have completely bought into an idea that like it's all okay. Like, yeah, we have no problem working, you know 40, 50, whatever hours a week, and then using the majority of that money to pay just bills, and then watching, the stupid sports thing or going to a game or whatever every once in a while, and you know, spending money on that kind of crap, to pay some athletes, $10 million a year salary. It's like, how do we not understand this? and not even the athlete's fault. Sure, that's great for them. I mean, it's a society problem. Like, why in the world would we pay people to run around with a freaking ball and not pay people more equivalent minimally to raise up children through school and teaching them school? Like, what kind of ignorant people are we? Like, we're freaking ignorant. Why wouldn't we at this point in society, you know, attempt to do mortgages different so that people aren't spending twice as much on their house just to pay interest? You know, like, why don't we just do things the right way? You know, why is there always some, or it seems like always some person, company, leader, group, whatever, at the top of every aspect of our life, attempting to, just be a leech and suck you dry? You know what I mean? It's like around here, we have a grocery store chain. It's in the Midwest. Um, and due to a relative, like, been to like some of their annual banquets over time, over the last 20 years, and and you know, it's really a sick place. Um, you know, it's one of those places that, just like a bunch, not just any one, but it's one of them that, you know, will, you know, increase food prices. It's a grocery chain, so of course, increase food prices. I have no idea how I even got to this far in this conversation. I'll, I'll land the plane here. They'll increase food prices, and then at the annual banquet, report record profits. Meanwhile, everybody in the little community where their grocery stores are, this is supposed to be a community thing. Like, they're in the community. Everybody in the community is now having to shovel out more of their paycheck, and then this company just gets to say, well, it's inflation. That's okay. Like, we can only, fine. There can be inflation at times, due to other decisions made by leadership and different things. But it doesn't really add up when you have record profits and then blame it on inflation. You know what I mean? Like, mm, I mean, if eggs inflated $1 a carton and you raised your prices $1 a carton, you're not seeing a difference in profit. So obviously you're lying. Yeah, maybe there was inflation of 50 cents, but you raised it $1 to screw everybody, where you're at. It's just like it's a disease, man. It's just like a corporate greed, power leech sucking disease. And it's no different. That's what I'm saying. No different than what Jesus is describing, in Luke there. Like, we 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 need Christians, we need churches to actually, like, teach preparation for Jesus' return and preparation for Jesus coming back to get us individually as we pass away. Go on. I think we missed that a lot. we wait here for Jesus to return, and like Revelation describes and all of that. But we forget that Jesus may come for us individually today before he returns to earth, in the end. So I don't know. Anyway, it's all interesting. I'd probably keep going forever. It's just, yeah, yeah. Well, that was fun. Uh, anyway, I better get to work. Um, yeah, all the dogs down here are, I don't know, just went back to sleep. So, uh, yeah, pretty quiet today. Anyway, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. We'll continue with Luke. All right. So you guys have a great day, and I'll see you later.